What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Lockdown. My name is Dre Green, senior here at SMSU, an inspired sports reporter as well. I play football, and I'm from Minneapolis, Minnesota. As well, in my free time, I like to play a little FIFA, a little Madden. So if you ever need a challenge, just hit my PSN up, Prince Hakeem 5. As always, with me, my co-host here, also plays football here at SMSU, a senior here as well. He was once known to say he cannot live without gumbo, donuts, and bacon. And in his free time, he likes to play a little Mortal Kombat, a little Smash Bros, and a little FIFA as well. He's from New Orleans, Louisiana. Taji Smith. How you doing today, sir?
Doing good.
So to just give you guys a little rundown, or sort of say the identity of the Lockdown, our show, you know, it's a jazzy, youthful, generational vibe of a sports talk show, you know, with a little edge, a little attitude with it, but it kind of reminds me of a Jalen Jacoby, a highly questionable, if you're familiar with those ESPN broadcasts. But, you know, we're just trying to, you know, be youthful, even with our attire. You see, we have jerseys on with a blazer. So it's giving you a little mixed signal to, you know, we're professional but laid back at the same time. Today, we will have on the Lockdown a couple of things we'll be sharing in our first episode here. First of all, we have new defensive coordinator Shay McClure in, as he will be discussing spring ball here at SMSU. As well, we will talk about some other keynotes with him. And finally, we'll have Taji share hot topics today. It might get a little intense. We never know. But we'll be right back with Coach McClure after brief messages. You are watching The Lockdown. Welcome back here to The Lockdown. Dre Green here with you. I have here with me former defensive back at Southern Oregon during the years of 1990 to 94, as well the former head coach at Dixie State University, Coach Shay McClure. How you doing today, Coach?
I'm great, thank you.
Well, Coach, we got a couple questions for you today, just a little insight and just get to know you, get to know what your expectations are and things here at the university. Could we start off, though, with your previous job at Dixie State? Can you talk a little bit about that experience?
Sure, yeah, it was great. It was my first full head coaching position. So, you know, a lot of things you don't know that you think you know. As a coordinator, I've been a coordinator for 20 years. And then you're thrown into the head coach position. You got to wear a lot of different hats that have a little bit to do with football and a lot that don't have to do with football. But, you know, we had a lot of success that they had never had there before, so I was proud of the product we put out there. We had great young men that played for us, both on the field and off the field. And again, like I said, had successes that they had never seen. So very happy with it. Obviously a learning experience that I think I can take and continue to grow on.
Sounds pretty good. Could you share how your coaching job here came to be?
Yeah, you know, we got let go at Dixie, so I was searching around, and this position came open. And back in 1998, I had actually come out here before with Coach Idness and interviewed with him and was offered the position, ultimately didn't take it. So I knew a lot about Marshall, I knew a lot about Southwest. So it wasn't like, oh my gosh, smack in the face type of thing. And, you know, Coach Sauter and I met down at the National Convention in San Antonio, came up here 3 or 4 days later for the interview. You know, and it was exactly how I remembered. Some upgrades for sure, since I had been here in '98 with the weight room and the field being completed and things. So, and was offered the position. And again, I like the Marshall community, you know, 15 to 25,000 people, you know, there's everything you need here. And again, I look at it as an opportunity that we can build something that can have sustained success.
Mm-hmm. Sounds good. So I know the guys have been working hard since the early days of January. Can you kind of talk about the progression from January till right before spring ball, with meaning the workouts and how they were looking when you first got here?
Sure, yeah, you know, the off season's so different than in season. You know, we're limited to 8 hours a day during the off season. So really you're not doing a whole lot of football. It's all in the weight room, you know, with Coach Hand this off season. And I'll tell you, my first impression is the team here works really hard. It was an eye opener just to see how hard the kids did work in the weight room. And I took that away as a positive. And then we transition into into spring football, and that's a completely different component. You know, and they don't know what I run. They don't know the terminology we use. They don't know some of the, you know, techniques and schematics that we're trying to implement here that have proven success. So, you know, there's a lot of growing pains, and, you know, I'm actually trying to figure out where to best fit the players we have, as well as the players we're bringing in, and put the best product on the field that we can.
Okay. Can you share about a couple of new coaches that came along with you here on the defensive side?
Sure, yeah. So I had been here a couple weeks, and Coach Sauter said, hey, you have 2 positions available. So I put it out there and brought in Coach Tyrone Satterfield, defensive line coach, who had been over at McAllister College in Maryland. He's originally from Florida, big Coach Sat. Does a great job with our front. Love hanging out with the guy. No, he's been around. You know, he's not some 18-year-old kid that's just getting into coaching. He's been around, understands recruiting, understands players, but also schematics and coaching. And then Coach Corey Lindsay came here as my corners coach, works with me in the secondary. Coach Lindsay played at Southern Illinois, played in the NFL for 5 or 6 years, CFL for a couple years, and then went back to Southern Illinois. Well, it just happens that my former offensive coordinator is now the offensive coordinator at Southern Illinois. So I got to know more about Coach Lindsay before even offering him the position. And again, it's been a great hire, does an awesome job. He and I work really well together. I love our defensive staff with Coach Bowerman, you know, as my linebackers coach, and Coach Desch helping out. It's a great match. I love, you know, again, we spend probably 100 hours a week together in the office, so you better enjoy each other, and I think we do, you know. So it's a really good family atmosphere from a coaching standpoint.
Indeed. So what would you say are the, you know, couple of your biggest expectations for this Mustang defense this fall?
You know, expectations, you know, I don't ever put expectations. Now, there's some things that I will demand, you know, if they're going to play football here on the defensive side, we're going to run to the football, you know, and that's number 1. We're going to force turnovers, that's number 2, and we're going to be great on 3rd down. You know, and if you can't do those things, we'll probably need to find a different program to play in, because those aren't going to be things that you know, oh, maybe so, maybe not, maybe this kid doesn't do it. You're going to do it or you're not.
Yes, sir.
You know, so.
Well, to loosen up the interview a little bit, Coach, we're just going to ask a couple questions to get a feel for you and get a feel for what you know about the town of Marshall and just SMSU. First question is, what's your favorite spot out here for food?
I don't eat out very often, don't have the money, and I cook better than most restaurants anyways. I enjoy cooking. But no, Brow Brothers, I like to go. It's mellow, social, you know, just kind of chill spot. And then Cucina is really good food, great atmosphere. I like it, and I've only been there once. Like I said, I cook most of my own meals, so I'm not a big go-out-to-restaurant guy.
Okay. Tell us a little bit about your family a little bit.
I've been married for 22 years. I have 3 children, a daughter who will be graduating high school in about a month. She'll be attending the University of Utah. My son, who is a sophomore, and then I have a daughter who's in 6th grade. So they are all still in Utah.
Okay. And finally, any free time you get outside this, you know, this really hectic coaching business, what do you like to do with your time?
Find 18 holes and get away from everybody. You know, everybody wants to play in a foursome and make it a social event. I want to play by myself and just clear my mind and swing the sticks and have some fun.
Oh, yeah, a little Phil Mickelson in you?
No, I'd say I'm a little more Rory McIlroy, but I'm not a huge Phil fan.
Okay.
Even though he's a San Diego guy, I'm not a huge Phil fan.
Sounds good. Well, we appreciate your time,
Thank
Coach.
you so much.
Always welcoming on the lockdown, and we just expect great things from the defense this year. We will be back with Taji with Hot Topics after this. You're watching The Lockdown.
Welcome back to our show, The Lockdown. I'm Taji Smith, and we're discussing hot topics. My partner and I, Dre Green, we're discussing 3 different questions that I'm going to be bringing forth to him to pick his brain and see how he feels about these different questions. You ready, Dre?
Yes, sir.
All right, for the first question I have, it's about the AFC North. Now, last year they required Jarvis Landry, and he nearly brought the team to .500 standings within their conference. And now I know you just heard they just got his counterpart, his brother in arms, Odell Beckham. What do you think? How do you think the Browns are going to shape up this upcoming season and seasons ago?
Well, me being a Pittsburgh Steelers fan myself, I can see a lot of things switching. But I like Deion Sanders said in the first report, the Browns have one ball to throw to 5-6 playmakers. So, I mean, it's going to take time. I don't see them guys having plenty trouble, but they will have some. Do I still think the Steelers at heart going to win the division? That's just me being biased, yes. But the Browns will definitely make the playoffs. If they don't make the playoffs, then we're going to have some situations.
I don't know if you ask me, you bringing Odell Beckham to your team, I think they might become the AFC North champs, you ask me.
I mean, we'll see. It's plenty of time. Time will tell how that works, and, we'll go from there when it happens.
We've seen what Jarvis did by himself. Now you got Odell Beckham.
I mean, yes, you have a full healthy. Let's not forget Odell Beckham is fully healthy again, yes. And you have a better offensive line with the Browns. But at the same time, the Browns are still the Browns in my eyes.
The Browns are still the Browns, ladies and gentlemen. You heard it from him. But I disagree. I think that they'd be the AFC North champs. Get ready for the Browns to be in the playoffs this upcoming 2019 season. For question number 2, how do you feel about the early demise of the AAF, man?
I mean, man, just us being, college students and aspiring to just go to the NFL or even play professional football itself, I was, very inspired to, I was very ambitious to want to even attempt something like that and even get a tryout with them if the NFL didn't work out for me. So when I seen that it crumbled so quickly, man, I was hurt a little bit, but, I understood, why it's the business. It's the business side. It had nothing to do with the passion of the players, the level of play, so to say, what we always say. But it's just the business and the people in the front office who couldn't really take care of business, the way they should. And, a lot of more people got affected by the demise than the beginning.
And that's what I think about. When I heard about it, it was shocking to me to see, that was a place of income for some guys. That's how people was able to feed their families. And to have that taken off the table, hopefully the NFL can make something work, giving these guys an extra tryout or something. But I was hurt to actually see that go down the way it did. I mean, they were a high level intensity of play, different from the NFL. And I enjoyed watching the AAF, so hopefully they can be brought back. For our last question, the NFL just released a statement, a new rule that's taking effect in the upcoming 2019 season. If you guys watch the Saints and the Rams game, yes, you see me with my black and gold on. In that game, there was a controversial call that wasn't called. There should have been a flag that should have been thrown for a pass interference call. But now, for this new season, you can use a challenge to challenge pass interference. How do you feel about that? Is that a good thing or a bad thing for football?
First of all, to grind your gears a little bit, the Saints, the penalty didn't happen, but they did get the ball in overtime to start. But that's a different topic, and that's a different story for a different day, everybody. But, I would say the new rule change, I don't necessarily like it. I just hope that they don't, abuse it, so to say. Okay. They don't just, every time it's a pass interference, we're reviewing a play. But let it be questionable just like that. I mean, there's a lot of plays. Let's talk about the Saints-Steelers game. Alvin Kamara in the end zone, Joe Hayden, that wasn't a pass interference. So that's definitely something that I bring back that could have been reviewable. And there's plenty of those that we have in the league. But I just don't want the NFL and the referees to abuse this rule.
And think of it this way: if they do try to abuse it, you only get 2 challenges.
Yeah.
So that changes the dynamics of how coaches are going to approach the game. You know what I'm saying?
Oh,
you only have 2 challenges. Are you going to use your challenge on this fumble or the pass interference? How are you going to use that? That's going to shape up the way you guys are going to possibly win or lose the game. How are you going to control your fate in that way? So if coaches and teams do abuse it, it's on them. 2 challenges, that's all you got.
Well, hopefully, the Saints season doesn't come down to a penalty next year, or we won't know what this guy will go through.
Saints are winning the Super Bowl. Y'all heard it first.
Yeah, who are they playing?
First of all, everybody that want to come to New Orleans, y'all
First of all, we have a healthy Cam Newton this year in that division. We have, Atlanta Falcons still rising up, Tampa Bay Bucks new head coach Bruce Arians.
We swept them twice. I don't even want to discuss that. We the rag is on the floor. We already wiped our hands. We're done with that. But ladies and gentlemen, that wraps it up for our first episode of The Lockdown. I hope you all keep watching and stay tuned to our show. You are watching The Lockdown.